is 1950. How can a small fledgling firearms company from upstate New York compete with the likes of Remington, Winchester, and Browning? Possibly by producing shotguns featuring uncommon actions like bolt and lever actions? Maybe develop a patented one-piece barrel and receiver design that incorporates a uniquely integrated choke? How about charging a fraction of the price of the big guys for your guns? The post-war climate for sporting arms was experiencing a huge rise in popularity due to increased interest in hunting and shooting sports. Why then did this company last for only a couple of years before going bankrupt? To find the answer, there's not much in the way of primary records or fancy corporate archives or museum exhibits. For this company, most of what we know comes from old catalogs, ads in 50s hunting magazines, or forums where gun nerds swap stories, or from the Milsurp garage, where shotguns like this are admired for their oddball charm and quirky operation, not to mention the opportunity to check out an obscure patent and make some interesting connections. Here we go again. Milsurp Garage, Kessler Arms Corporation. We're back. Our Westernfield Model 30 up here was made by Kesler and sold by Ward's, the catalog outlet, back in the early 50s, and it is legendary here at the Milsurp Garage. It created the scores at the trap range to earn the coveted Milsurp Garage Unbroken Clay Award. This particular Ward's Westernfield gun had a 16 gauge, 28-inch fixed full choke barrel, and of course the distinctive bolt action. In that video, which I linked below, we discovered how the Crosman Airgun Company, in business since 1924, had a gasket O-ring supplier who was local to them in Rochester that decided after the war in 1946 to also go into airgun manufacturing by designing an almost exact copy of Crosman's 101 rifle, possibly using some engineers hired away from Crosman in the process. Nice. This was Rochester Precision Air Rifle, and they didn't last long, and they were bought by, you guessed it, Kessler Manufacturing of Buffalo, New York. And at some point, Kesler moved from Buffalo to Silver Creek, New York, and by 1950, Kesler switched to manufacturing shotguns using this patent 2682661, the undergarment, seat, and crotch construction patent of J. Kesler, filed May 5th, 1951. This wait a minute. Hold on a second. Sorry, it was the wrong patent. It's 2663410, manufacture of smoothbore gun barrels by P.D. Kesler, filed September 29th, 1950. Got my patents mixed up. This patent, filed in 1950 and granted in 1953, took the same amount of time to work its way through the patent office as Kesler spent in business making shotguns. Paul D. Kesler, Silver Creek, New York. September 29th, 1950. In our video on the 16 gauge Westernfield, we examined Kessler's business history. Here we are going to more closely examine this patent. But first, let's more closely examine the shotgun. So we're going to move to the target of this video, which is going to be our newly acquired 12 gauge. This thing is beautiful. This is the Kessler Model 30C. No Westernfield branding here. It's a 12 gauge bolt action, 26-inch barreled shotgun with a 2-round internal fixed magazine, creating a 2.1 capacity, which conforms to most hunting regulations regarding shotgun capacity. And it has this awesome Komp Choke. Komp Choke, which was Kessler's branding for their adjustable choke system. These were made from 1951 to 1953 in 12, 16, and 20 gauge configurations as the Model 28 bolt action with a detachable mag and fixed choke, the 30C with the internal mag and the Komp Choke, that's a bolt action, and the Model 50 Levermatic lever action fixed full choke. That was their lineup. Check out this interesting bolt removal technique. You just kind of tear it out of there. Look at this thing. Nobody could say these things weren't robust. I'll tell you that. Interesting and simple extractor here on the 16 gauge. If you remember, it didn't work all that great. This is just kind of like a locator. So if here's where the ejector runs through the bolt, so it's a little push right there and it's off. One thing that you'll notice if you check these out of note here related to the patent is this one piece receiver barrel construction. As you can see, right from the barrel end, straight up through the receiver, all the way. It's all just one tube piece. Pretty cool, right? Core principles of this patent are manufacturing shotgun barrels cheaper, stronger, and faster. This is accomplished by using a cold drawing method of manufacturing that eliminates machining operations, which can be costly and time consuming, as well as using a procedure that eliminates the need for costly machine tools but can be carried out on a conventional draw bench. Also, stronger steel can be used due to the elimination of machining, which would necessitate using steel of reduced strength to allow for such machining. Another advantage of this patented procedure is that the choke restriction can be incorporated into the hole of the barrel instead of just a crimp-like restriction just at the muzzle. Reading this paragraph, in the patent, it states, shotgun barrels are also provided with what are known as chokes to concentrate the shot pattern. Usually, a shotgun is choked by boring a taper in the muzzle end of the barrel or swaging the muzzle end or attaching a choke sleeve. It's a feature of the present invention that the choke effect, whether full or modified, can be incorporated uniformly or otherwise into the taper of the end section of the mandrel. In fact, this serves to increase the draft of the mandrel, thus it is equally facile to manufacture gun barrels with full choke, modified choke, or improved cylindrical bores in accordance with the practice of the present invention, it merely being necessary to use the mandrel having the appropriate taper in its end section to produce the type of bore desired. Basically, Mr. Kessler's invention is that there's a gradual taper going down the barrel instead of a sudden taper at the end that would that's the choke is just like in the last inch or 2 inches or 3 inches of the barrel. So snap caps, by the way, just to show you how cool this thing is for loading. You could load a couple of rounds in here, right? And you could hold these down and have a round in the chamber, be able to close the bolt either on an empty chamber like this or on a round that's in the chamber to make a 3-round capacity, or again, just to close it like this to carry it like in a truck or something like this where you don't even have a live round in the chamber. And cycling with these, I was going to say you would think it wasn't a problem, but they're going in a little bit weird because of the angle that I'm at here, but trust me, this thing cycles smoothly. It does. It works. So I recommend reading this whole patent if you have an interest in it, as it touches specifics like wall thickness, mandrel usage, tube blanks being formed using cylindrical coaxial extensions. Oh yeah, it's that deep. And also check out cited patents too, like Peck's method of producing a thick-walled seamless metallic tube right here, because this is basically like the shoulders that he stood on. You know what I mean? And these patents on metalwork are fascinating. They really are. So aside from the patent research, there's very little info to uncover about Kessler. I found a Paul D. Kessler who went to Silver Creek High School, who is about the age of Paul D. Kessler Jr. would be. I found some blurbs in Silver Creek newspapers from the early 50s mentioning a Mr. and Mrs. Paul Kessler, such as a Shriners party attendance at the Shorewood Country Club in nearby Dunkirk, New York. Apparently, Mrs. Paul Kessler was also the chairperson of women's golfers at the Tri-County Country Club. I mean, I went deep into private investigator mode here. I was doing surveillance. I was Jim Rockford, and nothing. No info on the shotgun company that we haven't covered in the Westernfield video. And what have we covered? We've covered Kessler ads, cutaway demo gun photos, barrel dating spots, cracked fore-end issues, detachable magazine problems, the reason why they probably went to the internal mag, Levermatic info, which is super interesting. Got to find one. I got to find one of these, by the way. Predecessor to the Marlin Levermatic. I'll also link that video down below. Catalog info for dealers. Sales struggled for these due to competition, and there was a whole lot of incentives for dealers to try to push these things and carry these things and sell these things. We had info on the bankruptcy, the sale to several entities, including Numrich Gun Parts Company. Their factory, of course, which still stands. Photos from the Pulp Fiction set. Oh, sorry, that's from the wrong folder. Paul Kessler's business listing with this Silver Creek address. Okay, the last video didn't go that far, but I went that far this time. I went that far. I'm just showing you that I tried. This topic is elusive. So let's get to shooting it, right? Question is, here's the big question. The 16 gauge did horribly with me last time. Single digits, we're talking. I could not hit a thing. Now the question is, did they change from the fixed chokes to the Komp Choke here for a reason? Did the Komp Choke fix a problem that existed with Kessler's patent? Maybe Kessler's patent of a tapered barrel, maybe reinventing the wheel didn't work. And maybe my 16 gauge shot shells were just scattering all over the place, even though it was supposed to be full. Maybe it affected the accuracy. Who knows? Well, you're going to have to tune in next time, because in our next installment, I will be shooting another round with the 16 gauge, and I will have our first outing with this 12 gauge Komp Choke model. So we'll see what happens. Time to develop a little suspense on this channel for a change. So I will see you next time with a full report on the Kessler 12 gauge with the Komp Choke, and also another round with the 16 gauge. Maybe it was just a bad day. And I haven't shot those rounds yet, so I'm telling you, right now, I'm just as curious as you guys are. See you next time with a full report at the Milsurp garage.